Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Conversations with Caryn. I'm like,
That's amazing.
I can't believe, I've started the channel and I've had a lot of little videos going out, but this is my first actual interview and or talk, I
Oh,
suppose. And this is really what I wanted to do. I wanted this platform to be about talking about everything that I love and everything that other people love, and just being able to come on and have amazing women like yourself, Michelle Vooght, on this
oh,
incredible show. So before we kick off and I hand over to you, just for the viewers out there, this little colored thing behind me reminds me of a jungle gym. And what happened was we went on an Angels weekend with Michelle as our host and guide. And it was while we were, doing all our work and our spiritual stuff and just hanging out with the angels that I climbed on top of this. I might find a photograph somewhere and put it up, but I climbed on top of this jungle gym that had all these colors. And while I was sitting at the top of the jungle gym, Michelle turned around at the bottom and she looked at me and she went, "Oh, that's you." And I was like, it was something along those lines. And I went, "What do you mean?" And she said, "These colors is every different facet of you. There's so many different sides to you and the things that you do." And I remember saying to you, like, wow, how do I bring everything that I love together though? I love Reiki, I love fascinate work, I love like moments of bliss, our biscuit business, like, and it was through that thought process, just letting it simmer, that Conversations with Caryn was born. So I thought, how can I not start episode 1 with my Michelle?
well, I'm very blessed to be here. I remember that moment. I think what was profound, and I think something I remember we spoke a lot about that weekend was, what should I do? And almost like placing it into a box, and you can do this, and it must be packaged like that. But when you were on that jungle gym, nothing was packaged. But it was colorful and it just fitted. And you can climb anywhere and any which way you want to. So it fits your personality as well.
Well, I think that was the thing for me. Like, stop trying to niche and put myself into a certain box. There's just too many facets of that. But Michelle, the reason why, besides the fact that Conversations with Caryn started with you, my entire spiritual journey really started the day that I met you. And my mom, I always when I say dabbled, you kind of think you like spiritual. And I remember going to a Louise Hay workshop when I was 20, and I remember going to the Earth, Wind and Fire Festival, knowing absolutely nothing about it, but I'm spiritual. I'm in that space. I was always curious, always interested. But it was only when I was in dire straits in my own life. I'd got recently divorced. I was just going through so much change. I'd changed jobs, I'd changed houses, there was so much that I was going through. And my mom, love you, mom, my mother actually said to me, "You really ought to have an appointment with Michelle Vooght." And it just so happened that you lived about I think it was 5 or 7 houses
Yes.
down the road from me. And I'll never forget that first meeting where you came to my home to come and see me. And we sat on the beachfront and I cried and cried. I don't want to cry today, but I cried and cried and cried. And you just sat there holding space. And it was like, that's where my journey started. It absolutely started with you, just love, unconditional, unwavering love. And I just thought, I need to get you on the show to speak about your journey and how you also started on the spiritual journey and how you've become a mentor and an icon to so many people by shining your light. And honestly, you have taught me how to shine mine. So I just wanted to first of all thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have changed my world in more ways, Michelle, than I can even begin to explain on this. I talk often in my videos about passive aggressive and narcissism and all the things that were characteristics in me. And it was through my journey with you that I got to recognize that shadow side of myself, but with love and compassion, and to actually go, oh my goodness, isn't this amazing? Like, we've got all these facets to us, and to just have understanding and then learn how to sort of step away from it. So yeah, once again, thank you for everything. But yeah, I'd love to just go over to you and talk a little bit about your journey and how you've become to be this amazing, like, I suppose, lighthouse for everybody else that's out there.
Oh, sure. Thank you. I'm very blessed to be here. I'm not sure I'm an icon. Um, I think over the years I have just obviously found my passion, and And through my own journey as well, like you said, it's our journeys, it's what we go through, it's our challenges that mold us and sculpt us. Um, and I think one thing I've it was so close to my heart, um, that I've learned is always give it away, always give it away. And I think that's what drove me all these years is, when I received a message, or I prepared for a retreat, or there was a Reiki group and we had these profound insights, and then, jumping on a Facebook Live and giving it away, like what you receive, what you learn, and what you're now going to do through these conversations is to give it away so that it can impact something else, someone else.
Mm.
Um, sure. I don't know if you want to go where I started, because
I'd love
that's
to.
really like 1,000 years ago. Where are we now?
But what is spirituality? What is being tapped into that higher power, tapped into your higher self, your angel team and all of that? How has that changed your life? Because there's so many people that are walking around not realizing what is out there for us if you just open up and embrace it. So, how do you get people from being stuck and not knowing anything about this journey like I was to where I am today? Like, I also want to just share this with everyone.
Well, I think, um, I think early on when I started with Reiki, I mean, that's where it started for me. I started with Reiki, and I'll never forget. I don't know if you know the story about the book falling off the shelf. You know that story.
No.
Oh, so many years ago, I think, I can't remember the year. My son was about 4 years old. He's now 27. Um, and we went to the library, and I always took him to the library for books. And then I was in the fiction section looking for my romantic novels. And I was in that section, and a book fell off the shelf, and it was a book about Reiki.
Wow.
Now, first of all, I don't know how that book got in that section, which I know now, many years later, it's Archangel Raphael. That prompts these little incidents. And I read the book, and I just was drawn. I just knew that this is good. Um, and I still remember also being judged, for it.
Especially
But
back then.
absolutely, a friend of mine still said, "Oh, you can't do this. This is, not good." And but I just thought, how can something so good be so wrong? And I did my first Reiki course, didn't really feel connected, did my second one with two Reiki masters that I absolutely adored. They were an elderly couple back then. Um, and that's just where it started, and my heart opened, and I just learned to befriend the guides and the angels, and I think you mustn't have fear. You must just let go of all the limiting beliefs you have about stuff. I think that was the biggest thing for me, is to just go there, to
Mm.
just go there and hold on to love. And I think from there it just went on, and I connected with the angels, I connected with my guides. And most of the things I've learned over the years was, I always say, straight from their hearts, hot off the press. Um, and the only thing it does is you have to have time.
Mm.
You have to make the time to connect and get to know that energy and hear and develop your hearing, and however you receive it, whether you
Mm.
write, whether you speak, whether you. I remember walking up and down my house in the day and speaking it out, talking to myself and speaking it out, and then
Mm.
going and quickly typing and writing it. So yeah, ever since then, it's been my life's work.
Michelle, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you faced on your journey as an energy healer in this space? Have you had challenges? Is it people? What are the things that you've come up against that have challenged you?
Self-doubt. Self-doubt challenges us all, yes, because the question I always have is, how do you know it's true? How do you know it's real? How do you know it's your intuition? So we all go through that. Please
Yes.
relax. Um, and if you do, it's to just check in. I'm feeling this. I'm sensing this. Is it this? Is it this?
Mm.
Give me a sign. Give me guidance. Sit on it. Don't be so impatient. So self-doubt was a big thing for me. Um, and then I think that balance between ego versus heart, staying humble, and then meeting different people and learning to discern energy with who you really collaborate with, who you really work with.
Mm.
And there's one thing I always ask, is to just keep me humble and let me just experience love.
Mm.
Um, and then the challenges is the things you go through, you know,
Exactly.
when it was like that time where I lost everything and I went through the sequestration process is like, I'm supposed to work with you. What's happening now? So I think that time in my life also was my biggest teacher that I'm the most grateful for because it taught me love. And then I started the Love versus Money teachings. Most of your teachings come from your experiences.
Mm.
And we must remember that the challenges we go through is what become our gifts and our learnings, our
Mm.
teaching.
But it's to learn, I suppose, to trust the process as well. I remember
Yes.
starting. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. My first session with you, I was never going to do Reiki, first and foremost. I wasn't interested in Reiki. What is Reiki? I don't really care about Reiki. I'm coming here for help. And you became my
Yeah.
psychologist in the end, whatever it was. And eventually, I remember you saying to me, why don't you just do your Reiki one? And I still thought to myself, what is my intention behind doing Reiki one? Okay, I want to learn to connect more to all that is. That was what I wanted to do. And we learned everything. I never practiced a single Reiki session outside of those workshops. And then it was about a year later, I think I did Reiki 2. And then I was a little bit more, okay, let me try, because you gave us tasks to do and things to do with other people. But it was the journey of Reiki Masters that I think honestly
Oh,
changed my life. And that
yeah.
for me has been my biggest growth, was doing Reiki Masters with you in 2022. Now, for people that
Wow.
are unfamiliar, how would you, first of all, describe Reiki and its benefits? For people that don't know much about Reiki, because we're both very passionate about Reiki. It's really, it changed my life.
Well,
How
I
would you?
think I'll be biased here because Reiki is for me the most profound. It's the simplest and most profound modality for me. There are lots of healing modalities. They all complement one another. We can combine. But for me, Reiki has been my foundation. It's been pure. It's been profound in its simplicity. So for me, Reiki is in its simplest form, recharging your batteries, keeping your aura clear and clean, allowing each and every chakra to operate at its optimum level. And if that happens, each chakra is associated to guide you on a physical, mental, spiritual, etheric level. So if you keep these open and clean, you are programmed to connect, to know, to operate intuitively. So it
Mm.
gives you energy, it releases stress. So, and I think that was the thing for me with Reiki through all the years and inviting people to do it because you don't have to be a practitioner.
Mm.
You can work with Reiki simply in your own life and just experience a new awareness.
Mm.
Uh,
That's
so I'd say that's what it is for me.
it's that awareness. I think those chambers that you go through in your masters, I remember when we started and you told us to leave our mind at your house. The mind's
Yes.
in I mean, up until that point, you are 100% correct. The mind is in control. You know, we are born like that. The mind, unless you learn differently, your mind is in charge, right? So I'll never forget that first chamber where you said everyone's leaving their minds behind. Energetically, we're leaving it behind because your mind is going to. Do you want to explain that process? What do you mean by that? Because a lot of people live in their mind. And I think it's just such a beautiful way to realize that we are so much more than just this. We are connected to this incredible universe out there. And it starts with the mind and putting that to rest a
Yes.
little bit, I guess, you know? So you
Yes.
want to maybe elaborate on what do you mean when you say leave your mind behind?
Look, I think we need our minds. But when we say leave the mind behind, is just step out of your mind a little bit. Just leave it and start with an open, empty space. Invite new thought processes in. And it's simple, like, oh, my mind is at Michelle's house. If I have to do this, how will I do it now? What new can I think of?
Yes.
Or if you're having a bad day, to go, oh, my mind's at Michelle's house. I can't think about it in the same way. Is there a new way I can think about this? That was actually the method behind it. And I think because what you're doing then is you emptying the mind and you're replacing it with new thought processes, new awarenesses. We never stop and think, oh, is there a different way to think about this situation? No, we're always in default negative.
Exactly.
Why? And we can, if you if you then have this symbolism, oh, forgot my mind's at Michelle's house, best I make a plan.
And think about it
You
differently because of our
allow,
limiting beliefs, right? We've got
absolutely,
certain experiences that have happened that have made our mind think a certain way, and maybe there's another way. Is that okay? So now I'm going to ask you to tell my favorite story about Netflix and how you can change the. Tell me about Netflix because I'm sure everyone wants to hear about this. It's just so powerful.
without giving my age away, when I started this work, I used the CD shuttle example.
Oh, tell us.
So, that was where this story started, with the CD shuttle, because can you remember the times when you had in your car, you had like that shuttle in the back and you could load like 6 or 7 CDs? So what happens is eventually the songs play over and over in the car. And you don't even realize anymore what song is playing because it keeps on playing. You're so used to it playing. Every now and again, you might hear your favorite song and go, "Oh, that's one of my favorites." Turn the volume up, um, and we hardly ever go and say, "Oh, let me change the CDs." And we do the same in our life. You know, the things we say, the things we think about, how we think about, those thoughts play in the background all the time, all the time. And every now and again, there's a thought that, especially the negative ones, that, oh, I know this one, this is my favorite. It's not your favorite, but it will go something like, I told you, here it happens again. It always happens like this. It's similar. So you hear the same things. And when you step into healing or being in self-awareness, change the CDs. Just take it all out and put in new songs, put in songs that you want to hear. So with your Reiki group, we had to change to Netflix because time have changed, you know. So and it's the same as your playlist. And you know what? Netflix will even recommend movies based on your playlist.
Ah.
Life does the same. It recommends situations based on your patterns, based on your thoughts. At what point are you going to say, I'm done, let me change my playlist? You know, let me go and watch the library and select movies that I want to watch, that I want in my life, so that Netflix can learn to recommend these types of movies.
Absolutely.
And you must do that in your own life. Let me select conversations, people, decisions, teachings, what I keep myself busy with. let me go and select that so that life can bring more of that to me.
And as you do that, I suppose you're talking about that up levels you, right? Every time you're changing your narrative and you're making it more positive and you're changing that process, it's allowing you to step into a sort of higher vibrational living, which in turn brings things that are on that platform, correct?
Absolutely, because the minute you start thinking differently, you will start attracting differently. And then the universe will place people and friendships and books falling off the shelves in your path.
And
To
synchronicities, and
be
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, how would you tell somebody that's never ever embarked on this journey before of self healing, like in this space? I mean, you say reprogramming your mind, and they go, well, I don't know how to do that. What kind of advice
Yeah.
would you give to somebody that's new at this and they're just the little things that they could possibly do, little tips and tricks to try and just question, to take, I think it's that self-awareness thing. You don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know that you're thinking these things, then you don't know how to change them, right? So what
Yes.
advice would you give to somebody that's starting out with this and really wanting to get onto the path of enlightenment and that there is a better way of doing things? Life doesn't have to be dreary.
I think you have to start with intention. Intention drives behavior. So if I know nothing, but I have the intention to be aware, already that's step number one. The universe just wants to hear intention and it goes, we're on it. So, because what happens if you do that, you're going to start attracting situations and thought processes. And for me, then I think is to, in the beginning, you have to literally make the time. You have to every morning say, I'm inviting new thoughts in. And every evening you have to go journal. What was the thoughts I have today? What was the same? What was different? One day you're going to get it right. Another day you're not. But hey, that's okay. Be patient with yourself. So I think initially you have to make like a task, like connecting the morning, connecting the evening, or every lunchtime, take a break and just go and be aware. Think, what did I think today? How did I act today? What do I want to change?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then maybe start with the modality or connect with the community, I think also.
Yes, maybe
Start
that.
seeking out the communities and friends because communities help each other. We
Well,
carry.
that's it. I mean, when I started with you, and then I started Reiki, and then I met like-minded Reiki people, and then I started moving in circles that people started believing what I believed, and all of a sudden I'd meet someone that knew a little bit more than me, and I was hanging on to every word until eventually your whole circle, you look around, and then you start to just slowly sort of move away from the lower energies that don't like want to do what you want to do, and it's just such a gentle process. You're not going, I don't do this anymore. Before you know it, if I look at myself of who I was then and where I am now, but the most profound thing, right up until who I was 5 days ago, there was an incident that
Yes.
happened. And it was like I reacted in a way, because obviously we're still human. We have our human triggers and emotions. But
Absolutely.
the way that I reacted to that and the way that I would react to it 5 days later is totally different because I went straight into process immediately. Okay.
Absolutely.
Self-aware. How could I have handled this better? What was my one, so it's a process. And I think that gets easier with practice. When you start to be living that life, it becomes practice, right? And it gets easier and easier. It's a bit daunting in the beginning because you're not quite sure what you're doing. But as you walk the walk and as you start to be open, I think it's opening the heart space. That's what you spoke about. We all have these heart walls because of trauma and hurt and whatever else. And I think Reiki is the catalyst for me anyway, and for both of us in terms of opening up the heart space and looking at life with understanding and compassion and things like that. What can you give us your insights into that?
I always use the brushing your teeth example. So when you are small, your mother teaches you to brush your teeth and you hate it. Like every morning, your mom must go and brush your teeth, go and brush your teeth, and you hate it. And you're so glad when it's holiday because then you don't have to go and brush your teeth. Now, when you're an adult, think about it. You brush your teeth without knowing. Why? Because you had to brush your teeth every morning and brush your teeth every night.
Mm.
and you had to do it and you had to learn it and you hated it. So that's what I always say. If you have a practice or an activity like journaling or sitting still or making time for the self-awareness practices, then eventually you'll do it without thinking.
Mm.
Um, like you remember our alarms from the Reiki.
Yes, that's a great idea. That's actually wonderful to interject right here. A tip for today, just for listening to this. Give a tip of what would I did it. It works.
Okay. So you set alarms on your phone, right? So on your phone, you set your alarm. So 7 o'clock, it's greeting the sun. 10 o'clock, it's setting intention. 11 o'clock, it's gratitude. Lunchtime, it's, I don't know, turn it around. 10 o'clock at night, it's a good day. So you set 5 alarms that go off in the day on your phone. And when it goes off, you go and do that.
Mm.
Um, if it's gratitude, wherever you go into the bathroom, you go outside, but you do gratitude.
Mm.
If it's your meditation alarm, you sit for 2 minutes, sit and breathe. That's all you need to do, but you go and do it.
Yes.
That's the point. And eventually, can you remember in some of the groups, some of the people would go out because without even the alarm, it was that time.
Is that time?
It's my time. It was that time. And at the end of, so I think, I don't know if we have time to list all of the ideas for alarms, but
No,
that's a good tip.
we'll do that
Introduce
in
your
the
own alarms. But
anything. It's just it's going to keep you in the moment, and keep you, I think, coming back to the moment of when you're feeling stressed at work, having an alarm that goes, oh, gratitude. It takes you out of
yes,
that mind space of where you're at, and all of a sudden you're going, I'm grateful. And how that all of a sudden changes the rest of your day. Just by going in that
absolutely.
moment, I'm grateful. Yeah, it's amazing.
I still remember my son, like my gratitude alarm would go off and I'd sit and work and the alarm go off. I'd go, Dom, what are you grateful for? While you work and then list it and talk about it, it keeps you in energy. It keeps you in energy. It's that brushing teeth example.
Exactly. And just to stay connected, because it's so easy for
Absolutely.
us to get. I mean, I had a wonderful thing happen to me this morning, which was I was quite stressed out. My day started off a little bit stressful, and I got in the vortex of stress. And I walked
Yes.
into my room and I went, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what is going on with today. And my partner, who is not on the same spiritual journey as me, although I can tell by his comment today, he turned around and he said to me, I don't think it's as much that the day is not good. Maybe you need to go and ground yourself. Now, coming from him, first and
Wow,
foremost, I was
great.
like, what?
Oh,
You heard what?
wow.
And then I actually kissed him on the cheek and I went, thank you. You're quite right. That's exactly what I need to do right now. And I went and I did a practice that grounds me. It could be anything to anyone. I mean,
Yes.
it could be walking on
Yes.
the beach, whatever it is. And I did mine and I instantly felt better. But it was just how by living that life, you still forget, you still do
Yes.
things sometimes, but
Absolutely.
it sort of brushes off on other people. And for him to be able
It's
to
like
turn
that.
around, I was like,
Yeah, like that. Yeah, turn it around. That's a good alarm. Turn
yeah,
it around.
turn it
And if
around.
turn it around goes off 5 times a day at certain times, you can go, what am I feeling now? Do I need to turn it around? And turn it around.
Yeah.
Feel differently, think differently in that moment.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay, Michelle.
everyone can do turn it around alarms.
I love that. Look, thank you so much for being on the show. We are going to run out of time soon, but I'm definitely going to have you on again if you'll be willing, because there is so many hours we can actually talk about so many different things with regards to all of this. But just for now, what are your plans for the future? What is Michelle? I mean, you're in Poland at the moment, so I'm so honored that you actually took the time out of your journey there to even come onto this. But what are your plans for the future, Michelle? What can we expect from Michelle going forward?
Well, there has been a bit of a sabbatical time in between Poland and back, and just resetting a lot of things and way forward, but definitely launching Adventures with the Angels. As you know, it's Camping with the Angels, so there will be more of them coming in the summer, and then also launching the inspirational channel where we will be on the road and just doing inspirational messages. So that is what we can look forward to, whether it's going to be in Daisy or in another vehicle, but that's what's coming soon.
Oh, that's so exciting. Michelle, are there any links or anything that you want to put in here for pages? I know you've been on a sabbatical, so I know you've been quite quiet on your social media pages because you doing your process of up leveling and everything. But if anybody wanted to reach out to you in that, will you send me the links? We're going to put them in the comments and stuff. And if people want to go and check out what you're about and where you're at and start following you, even though it's a bit quiet, you're definitely gonna appear with your inspiration and stuff. So we can put links in for people to be able to come and find you.
I think the best for now would be my existing Facebook page.
Okay, great.
And then as we change the YouTube channel is there, but as we start launching YouTube and Instagram, it will always be advertised on the Facebook page. So I think let's start there.
Start there. Okay.
And as we align and update, then you'll always be notified of it.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much.
Oh,
you have been such.
It was so nice to reminisce about where we came from and how long we've known each other and your journey. You are absolutely, Caryn, an inspiration, and I really commend you for, in such a love-filled, humble way, taking what you've learned and also sharing it and giving it out. Well done. You are incredible.
It's been a journey. You know my journey of people pleasing and self-doubt and perfectionism and worry and judgment. And I was all of those. And that's why I talk to the people that I speak to. I was you. If you
but I just wanted to say, can we just change I to we? Because we all go through that, isn't it?
Exactly.
And in some cases still, if I can just leave one thing, always return to love. Love has been the biggest example and healer in my life. So whatever you go through, always return to love.
Sitting on my lap, my rose quartz always. But that was a very big reminder. You've said it almost like, by the way, love, it's massive. It is the biggest, even when you are in a pickle with somebody else, in a relationship issue or whatever it is, you've taught us to go to love first before you even respond.
I think I just want to say that you can have the best teachers around you, mentors, spiritual teachers. But if you as an individual don't do the work, nothing will happen. So never ever think it's because of that one. It's you did the work. And I just really want to say that because yes, there are teachers that we give and we have tools and we can guide, but you do the work.
That's true. You've got to take that time aside and go and sit in reflection and look at this. It's exactly that. Looking at the Reiki principles, even just the 5,
I always say to people, I can speak until I'm blue in my face. It will not work. If you don't do it and you don't implement it and you don't receive it,
and embody it, I suppose.
Absolutely.
You've got to embody it. I think that's the part. It's easy to learn stuff, but it's to actually walk the walk, once you've learned it, to actually go and it doesn't mean you're going to walk perfectly. It's like learning to crawl and then walking and you're falling all over the show, but you're getting up and you're going. But you have to walk. Nobody can walk you for you, I suppose. So that's a very, very important point.
And we are all teachers and students of one another. No teacher is above another. No teacher is above a student. It's all of us journeying together, doing the work.
Yeah, incredible.
With having fun. I mean, it's not so serious that you can't be enjoy and have fun. You have to have fun.
That's the other part, I suppose. Everyone takes this journey and a lot of people are like, it's just such a serious thing. It's not. I mean, I have fun with my angels all the time. I've actually started getting them to, like, when I lose something, I'll go, come on, angels. I know one of you here, one of my guides here knows exactly where it is. And I'm going to just go quiet and you're going to show me. And it's worked. I've been journaling that. All the little wins that I've been having. It's been so amazing. So, you got to tap into that for yourself.
Joy opens the heart. Joy opens the heart. Joy clears the mind. Joy brings wisdom. Joy brings strength. walk in joy. It's a good thing.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Bye.